rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For they that carried us away captive required of us a song. And they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the I Am song in a strange land? If I forget thee, O Yasharal, let my right hand forget her cunning. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O I Am, the children of Edom in the day Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee, as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dashed thy little ones against the stone. Psalms chapter 137. All praises to the Most High. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me in my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, those of you on this platform and those shared platforms. We thank God for you. And with a hand clap of praise, we thank God for those of you who have been with us from the beginning. We thank God for those of you who have been with us thereafter and here and there's about. And we thank the Most High for those of you that have just subscribed. Yes, we thank God for you. And also we thank the Most High for those of you who are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, all praises to the Most High who inhabits all things. Yes, that was one we read from Psalms chapter 137. And as we do it most days, majority of the days, we quote from Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. A prayer of protection of the mind. This is what we need in these evil days, our minds to be protected. Yes, we do. Now, here we are again. We're looking at the fact that you have to excuse the dogs. If you hear the dogs out there, I can't tell if you can hear them or not. There are dogs out there that are barking. But regardless, we thank God for His Word. Now we're in the book of Judges. The book of Judges. The book of Judges, and we ended in chapter 5 and verse 30. And we're going to start from there. And it reads as this. Judges chapter 5 and verse 30. Have they not sped? Have they not divided the prey? To every man a damsel or two. To Sisera a prey of divers colors. A prey of divers colors. Of needlework. Of divers colors of needlework on both sides. This is the song of Deborah. Some of you might say Deborah. Meat for the necks of them that take the spoil. So let all thine enemies perish. O I Am. But let them that love him be as the sun when he goeth down in his might. And the land had rest 40 years. Yes. At first we had read in the Psalms where they were at the river of Babylon. This is a true story. They wanted them to sing the songs of Zion. Why? Maybe they had a good beat or something. I don't know. But either way, they were praying for God's vengeance upon Babylon. And then they come out to even get to the point where they talk about those just born to dash their little ones against the stone. Just like they have done to us. But God is going to render their due justice. He's going to perform justice upon those of the heathen, those who have been given charge over the earth, that have devastated although he have allowed this still, when you don't repent. See, the king of Babylon had a time to repent. He had a time to turn around, but he didn't. So he and his people had to pay the ultimate price, as the king of Egypt did. Now, right here she says, now, so let all thine enemies perish. The enemies of the I am are verily those who have swayed over the thoughts of men's hearts, the minds, because they come against his commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. Yes, they do. He said, she said, but let them that love him be as the sun which goeth forth in his might, and the land had rest. In other words, they gave, as long as Deborah was around, they had rest, because they were able to, they had somebody to judge between the laws. She was judging. I don't know where the Levitical priest was at this time in that area, but I know she judged the land. And that was, they had rest because she had judged. And Sisera was destroyed and his armies dispersed. And so, yes, they had rest 40 years. All praises to the Most High. Now we get into Judges chapter 6. Judges chapter 6 and verse 1. And now here we go again. After 40 years of Deborah being the judge in Israel, she had to be a woman of at least 60 years old. I'm sure she lived a good old life, or somewhere in there or there's about. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the I am. How did they do evil? Most likely it was idolatry. Hearkening, because the things of the heathen look so enticing to you, don't it? You've seen them on TV. You see them do the stuff they do. You see them hate other black folks, so you're going to get your gangs and hate each other too. And you've seen them also had the Frank Nitti and the Al Capones, and so many of you have started even in this time, and now the Al Capones and Frank Nittis have major corporations, and they saying, hold it, we got to stop these black folk. You don't get it, do you? And now here you are, every little thing you do is basically, most of the time, trying to incarcerate you or unalive you. For no reason at all, just because you are who you are. Now, we also have a new thing, that with this, just changing the subject a little bit, Venezuela. It's just my assumption on a commentary or opinion. You notice how that now Venezuela is sitting on, I think, the world's most, they sitting on barrels, billions of barrels of oil and gas. And now they're considering becoming a member of the BRICS nations. We'll know the end of that by October, in that summit of October. But the fact is that now you got the U.S., which we all know by the book He That Says None Dare called him it conspiracy, that for some reason this place is, should I say, this place is being destabilized. Venezuela wasn't always like this. It's being destabilized. And why is he sending his convicts over into the United States? What deal has been made? What is going on? Now we know also by the words, shout out to Professor Black Truth, that white supremacy plays their little games on both ends. White supremacy plays their little games on both ends. In other words, in every place that they go, unrest, upheaval, people are being confused, and the government can't even handle them hardly. And then you have factions growing up of militant people that's against the government itself. And so what deal was this to send them all the way over, to cause them to come all the way to the United States? Even their refuse of people, the character of people. Something is fishy about this. I can't put my hands on it, but this is allegedly. We think that this thing has been orchestrated, even though Roosevelt said there's nothing in government. Everything in government is carefully planned. It's planned from these elections and who's been elected for each party, and the fact of who will be elected. It's all carefully planned. Now, this is president. He was a white supremacist of his own self, in his own right. But the fact is, he told the truth at that time. Now, with that said, let's continue with our regularly scheduled program. Okay, now, it says now, in verse 2, the Lord delivered them into the hands of Midian. Now, Midian have taken over the children of Israel. They come and they pillaged and everything else. And the hand of Midian prevailed against Israel because of the Midianites. The children of Israel made them dens, which are in the mountains and caves and strongholds. In other words, they were so scared, their hearts so weak, that they were in the dens and caves. Wouldn't this tell you about even United States, what is happening? Why? Because they did evil. You are doing evil in the sight of the Most High. Why is women ruling you and your children oppress you? That's a question to ask. And because of the Midianites, they made dens. They hid. They were scared. Many of us are scared. We're scared to the point where we don't want to say. We stay in the houses. We can't do anything because we're afraid we're going to get stopped in a traffic stop. They're backing us up. And then we might be unalive. Many of us are, even though we go on our way to work, we don't know if we're going to come back home because of something's going to happen. And it's very ironic how a lot of things are orchestrated to happen in this city, and then the next day it's happening in another country or another state, and then another way is happening in another state. It's like it's orchestrated. Think about it. How are these executions of innocent bystanders that happen to be black done? And nowadays, I really don't count it anything that they do their own people, but the fact is they're doing it to try to counteract the fact that their target is really us. And that is something to really think about and examine. First, it was mostly all about, some of their people, yes, but most were black. Most were black. And now we get to the point now. It was so, in verse 3, when Israel had sown that the Midianites came up, and the Amalekites and the children of the east, even they came up against them. In other words, here's everybody. Now here you are in the United States. Here you got these sending the Venezuela gangs up. Now then you have the law enforcement that really don't like you. And then you have the political parties that really are trying to do some type of thing. They will not give you reparations for all the time that you ask. Now, why? And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the I Am. And they encamped against him. What happened? What happened? To the point where you have to cry out to God. God is trying to get you to change your ways. Even if you have to use demise and death and degradation and devastation. God trying to get you to change your ways. But many of us are stiff-necked and we're so confused. The enemy, he's playing things on both ends. Hear me. Playing on both ends. And they encamped against him and destroyed the increase of the earth. In other words, food and everything else, till thou comes unto Gaza. Then left no sustenance for Israel. They destroyed the crops. They did everything. Neither sheep, no ox, not even for the sacrifices. No ass, nothing. Burden, beast of burden. Didn't have no trucks or nothing. This happened to us before. For they came up with their cattle and their tents. And they came as grasshoppers for the multitude. What happened for those of you who say you're so-called native to the land of America? By some reason or another, yes, we could say that is so. But yet the grasshoppers came. If you hear me ever say grasshoppers, this is what I mean. They came. They licked up all the sustenance. They destroyed all the fruit trees. Even when Curry Mayo made, I like the guy. I mean, he showed where when the discoverers came to America, even Daniel Bornstein, here you are. Fruit trees everywhere. You didn't have to buy a basket of fruit. You can just walk and a basket of fruit is right there. You can just pluck it down or pick it up in its season. Yes, these things were done in its season. Now, here we go again. It says now, and the grasshoppers came. They destroyed them. And I noticed one, should I say, social media content creator says that what happened? How did they disappear? How did all these fruit trees disappear from off the U.S. soil? They only planted male trees. That's it, male trees. And so they came up with their cattle and their tents and as grasshoppers for the multitude, for both they and their camels were without number, and they entered into the land to destroy it. And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites, and the children of Israel cried unto the I Am. Yes, and it came to pass when the children of Israel cried unto the I Am because of the Midianites, that the I Am sent a prophet unto the children of Israel. Now, in other words, and if my people, which are called by my name, this is so often quoted, but not so much done, and humble themselves, then I will hear from heaven. He said he's going to heal you of your backslidden, stiff-necked self. That's what he said. And that the I Am sent a prophet, which said unto them, Thus saith the I Am, God of Israel, I brought you up from Egypt, and brought you forth out of the house of bondage. And I delivered you out of the hands of the Egyptians, and out of the hands of all that oppressed you, and drave them out from before you, and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am that I am your God. Fear not the gods of the Amorites. In other words, he's saying, fear not the demons of the Amorite, because these are the ones who have sway over their minds. Come on here. They have stirred up. They have asked permission to stir up the Amorites, to stir up the Midianites, to take you and to scare you and to give you a faint heart. Yes. Do you not see these things? Are you so blind and stiff-necked that you cannot, oh, God's not real. But yet some cop comes and knock you upside the head and throw you in jail for no reason at all after 16, 20 years. Oh, we're sorry. God's not real. Spirits are not real. Nothing's real. Oh, yes, foolishness is known of his children. But either way, in verse 9, and I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians and out of the hand of all that oppressed you. I mean, all the way from back from Abraham, all that oppressed you. God delivered the children of Jacob. He says now, and drave them out from before you and gave you their land. But the fact is, your parents forgot to teach you the right way. They wanted to go according, and now here you are wearing them wigs instead of your own hair, pressing your hair, trying to look like those that are not you. You hate yourself. Oh, no, I ain't. I just wanted to look like that. Use a lie in your breath stank. Come on here. Use a lie. You're trying to be accepted among those who don't accept you. Only to a certain extent to your abilities. If you're a doctor or a lawyer or any use to them, they're going to accept you. And play along with it until you do something wrong, like wear your natural hair. And you men, I don't know. Then you start taking your men, which and they was rich. Didn't know it by design that the black man is not going to be, most of the black men are not going to be rich or have a good income for themselves. Most of us are not. And then you get all brain damaged and silly. Woman, you don't know, you're the weakest link. But anyway, yes, I said that and I meant it too, and I can prove it. And I said unto you, I am your God. Fear not the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell, but ye have not obeyed my voice. And there came an angel of the I Am that sat under an oak, which was in Ophrah, and that pertained unto Joash the Abiezrite, and his son Gideon. Now we're talking about the story of Gideon. Yes, thresh wheat by the wine press. Gideon threshed wheat by the wine press. Yes, threshing, in other words, just knocking it up in the air, or whatever you want to call it, so you get the seeds or the kernels out, so they could be ground into fine flour, to hide it from the Midianites. That's why he was by the wine press. And the angel of the I Am, messenger of the I Am, appeared unto him and said unto him, the I Am is with thee, thou mighty man of valor. Here's a man he's threshing wheat by the wine press to hide it from the Midianites, and somebody comes along, a messenger comes along, a spiritual messenger comes along and says, the I Am is with thee, thy mighty. Who, me? Who, me? Now you have to realize this messenger had to somehow strengthen the heart of Gideon, because the fact is, you have a weak heart, or should I say weak will. For some of you who try to mix up words, you have a weak will. You've been made cowardice toward those things that should serve you right. Those things that you should either fight for, demise for, or die for. You've been given a false sense of security. And that you think that those who hate God love you. This Christianity does not love you at all. I don't know where you get that assumption. There is no such word as love. The Greeks made that up. But if you would love, as they, should I say, translated out of the Hebrew to the Latin, to the Greek, or however they did it, love wasn't there. That's the word that came up. The Septuagint, the Greek Bible, and also the Pentateuch and all that other stuff. Yes, they come up with that stuff. But God says there's a word for it. I don't understand the Hebrew word for it, but the law, if we're going to use the word love, the only way you can love a person is be fair. God is fair. If you're going to say love, you're going to say be fair. Fairness is giving. Fairness is taking those things that make sense, that's upright and righteous before the Most High, and doing that which is right, regardless of whether it means the demise or hideous demise of someone that have murdered or raped or whatever they did. This is God's way. Fairness. Regardless. If you're going to hideously murder someone out of your malice, then you shall be hideously murdered out of, or should I say hideous, getting rid of out of the land. Why? As I said before, that others might fear not to do such things. This is God's way. God is rough, as you would put it, you liberal. God is not dealing with your mess. You take a murderer and then you sit up there and you take him and you hang him by his own. He hung somebody, you hang him. As he going up to work, he gonna sound like a little squealing pig. Come on here, talk. This is what's happening. So, now, and Gideon said unto him, oh, my God, if the I Am be with us, why then is all this befalling us? Isn't that what they're saying today? You hear all on TikTok, YouTube, and all the other social media places. Where is God? If God ever existed, why has all this befallen us? This is what all of you are saying. Why has all of this befallen us? Why are we being great? Why are we being stopped in traffic stops and then it turns out to be our own demise? Why are we subject to systematic racism? Why are we divided with these people in their contrasting of our skin versus their skin? Why? Got you here, didn't we? And where be all his miracles if God is so good? This is what Gideon told us, the messenger of the Most High. Where are all his miracles? I wouldn't do a miracle for you if I was God myself. And I'm just human and a man, subject to the same things you are. No. Why? It ain't worth it. You ain't gonna do no but do, hey, I give you $1. You gonna say, oh, thank you, and act like you're my friend until you run out of that dollar, then you don't want another one. The angel already told God this in the book of Jubilees and Jasher. He did. You're going to bless them. They're going to be all right. They're going to praise you for a little while. Then they're going to go back to what they was going. And this is proven Not only for this time, but it's also proven for today. Worshiping idols. It just invented different tactics. God's trying to separate. God is not trying. He's separating the wheat from the tares, the believers from the unbelievers. And He allowed Jesus, this fictitious Jesus, to come upon you to separate. You're falling out. Preacher go, poof, fall over. Poof, fall over. Don't you know if it's not even a game, it's demonic? Where have you seen that in any of the writings? And you get all and say, oh, praise the Lord, praise the Lord. Oh, he fell back. Look at the whole congregation. They fell back like dominoes. And hear the preacher and everybody else laugh. Look at these fools. And then, but they ain't going to say that to you. They're going to get back in their own quarters in a secret place and laugh. How foolish you are. It's good to be excited about the Most High. But the Spirit is subject unto you. You allow things in that should not be. And now we're in verse 14. It says, and the I Am looked upon him and said, now, let's go on. He said, where be all his miracles which our father told us of, saying, did not the I Am bring us up from Egypt? Hold up now. Nobody told you that. But now the I Am has forsaken us. No, your sins have caused you to be forsaken and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. Well, what happened 40 years ago? And the I Am looked upon him and said, go, this is thy might, in this thy might. And thou shalt save Israel from the hands of the Midianites. Have not I sent thee? No, I ain't going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you, man. Do what I tell you to do and go. In his backslidden heart. You're going to read a lot about Gideon here. And he said unto him, oh my God, wherewith shall I save Israel? How am I going to do this? I ain't nobody. Okay, you talked about all this. You talked all this stuff. Talking about God ain't did nothing, where all his miracles since the days of Egypt we hadn't he probably didn't hear of the prophet Deborah either, has he? Come on, him. He said, behold, my family is poor in Manasseh. I am the least in my father's house. And the I Am said, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. In other words, God don't work with a bunch of people. That's why in the book of Daniel, he said, a stone hewn out of a mountain shall crush this. See, you don't know what's happening here. You think that just because Africa is rising and the United States is falling to part, it's going to be dust or desert land eventually, or maybe under the sea. I don't know. Hopefully by that time I'm gone and demised or whatever. It don't matter. But the fact is that it's going to be gone. All these countries falling up. To what end? You have to pray, God, you're delivering us, you're giving us to it, but to what end? What do we have to do to maintain what we have? You being delivered here in the United States, and what? You blessing us, we're getting our reparations, we're doing these things, but to what end? Things are brewing up around you. Things were brewing up around you, just like it was at the time after the flood. God first sent Noah as an albino. That was a sign as to what is to come. Then he starts raising them up, and raising them up. Then he showed another sign in that the sister of Moses was turned white with leprosy. Another sign, didn't take it. Then came to the point of the Grecians. Then it started turning lighter and lighter and lighter. It was already here, just turning the way it should be now. And now you're the lowest. Those you have put the lower. Read the book of The History of the Hebrews and Arabs by Gert Mueller and Anabantu. He's going to tell you what happened. Your pride. He says, now, I'm going to read this and this is it. I'm going to read this and this is it. And it says, the I Am says, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. And he said unto him, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then show me a sign that thou talkest with me. Now that's a good thing to ask. Depart not thence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee and bring thee forth my present and set it before thee. And he said, I will tarry until thou come again. And reading again, Gideon went in and made ready a kid and unleavened cakes and ephah flour and flesh and put it in a basket and the broth in a pot and brought it unto him under the oak and presented it. Now he wanted to give, him and his idolatrous self wanted to give this to the angel. But you have to realize the angel is going to have another thing in his mind. See, one thing about these messengers, they exalt God. They don't care about that mess. You're not going to sway them with presents. Somebody give you a gift, oh man of God, give it to those who deserve it, the poor. You might say they don't deserve it. They probably not. Some of them might be rich. Give it to them. In other words, a gift will blind you and cause you to think you're more than you are. And this angel wasn't having that. Nah. But either way, your stiff-neckedness. God's going to deliver a lot of nations, but it's going to be to a certain point, and it's leading up to a certain thing. And with that, we're going to say, until next time, we're going to start with verse 20. We're going to say, peace.
Walk with me.